You are listening to the Starter Girls podcast with Jennifer Loading. Whether you are starting a project, starting a business, starting a brand, or starting a movement, we are here to talk about it. And the Starter Girls show is brought to you by Walt Mills, photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you're in the Dallas or surrounding area and you're looking for some photography, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com. And with that, we are going to get things started. Today is a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, my friends, I'm super excited to welcome my guest to the show today, David Goff. Out of his desire to impact a younger generation, David created a publishing company to publish children's books. He is currently working on a series that focuses on coaching, motivating, and instructing the reader on living their best life, all of which he shares with his sales team on a daily basis. He published his first book for his dad, Steve Goff, A Rock in My Shoe, not too long ago, and is currently working on his second book to be released next month, Presley's Smile. You can also catch David on Monday mornings sharing his tips on his own podcast, Ways with David Goff. I love it. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Didn't that bio sound like really good?
I know. I'm like, I'm important. Wow. What's that about?
You know what is so funny about the podcast? Like, this is the stuff that I actually enjoy doing, is like creating people's stories. I'm like, just give me your facts. I'll put the piece together that we need to talk about.
And that's how we did it. And how many times, though, honestly, do we really pay attention to all that we have going on?
Right.
We just get wrapped up into what we're doing, and we just don't, we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we do. So just listening to that, I'm like, wow, I'm busy.
You're like, I sound pretty important today. I know, it's always fun when I do this, and sometimes I'll get these bios and they're like really, really long. And I'm like, I'm trying to filter, but they have so much great information that I want to put it out there. And we had a guest on a few weeks ago, and I got through all her accolades, which were impressive. And she's like, man, I'm tired. I'm like, but it was so good. We had to get it all out there.
That's right.
So
get it out there. Yeah. And I'm difficult for you, I'm sure, because I'm not a self-promoter. I'm that guy that's kind of behind the scenes working with individuals and working on them. So
No, I love that. And that's going to lead me into kind of what we're talking about right now. So what I'd love to do, because you're a vice president of the company and you're doing a lot of coaching and mentoring, I really want to talk about that, because I think that's kind of has led you into this other part that we're going to get into. So let's talk a little bit about what you do there and maybe how that transgressed into this publishing company that you created.
Yeah, so I spend a lot of time on the phone with my sales executives out in the field, and oftentimes the same conversations come up. And I think it's because the challenges are the same. I think also it's because a lot of it is human nature things that happen. A lot of it is choices we make every day. A lot of it's the way we schedule our time. A lot of it is the way that we handle relationships.
Right.
And so over the years, I've figured out that there's some commonalities there. And a lot of it has to do with how we feel about ourselves. A lot of it has to do with how we approach life just like every single given day. Right. And so taking a lot of those conversations over the years and really kind of working with individuals and working toward more revenue, working toward growing their business, if you don't have those basic principles in play, then it's not long-term success. You might be able to move the needle occasionally, but the best of the best have their stuff together. They know exactly who they are, what they're trying to accomplish, and on a day-to-day basis, they know how to approach that day. And so, again, kind of translating that into the children's books and even the podcast, all of those themes tie together, and I just started wanting to share more of those stories, and I think that's the goal.
I love that. So you said a lot of really neat things there, but I think the thing that really stands out to me is that when you were talking about them kind of being whole, like it's all the mindset we talk about. And it's so interesting. The gal that I had on before your show, she's a financial coach, and we were talking about the connection between the mindset, these preconceived ideas that we have, or these limiting beliefs that we have that are tied. And one of the things I brought up was that they play out in all areas of your life. Absolutely. They play out, in your relationships, they play out in your work productivity, they play out, in your health and well-being. They show up in all these different areas, but they're really wrapped around this one limiting belief you're holding on to. So I think what's really neat that sets you apart is that you're looking at this big picture thinking, hey, if I help these people be successful, this is going to have a long-term impact. And I think that is where you and I share the commonality. Absolutely. Because when I'm talking to people, it's not about putting a Band-Aid on somebody. And you can tell somebody all day long how to do a project or how to be good at their job. But if they don't have the right outlook, they don't come to the table with the right mindset, it's going to play out in their work. You're going to keep having these roadblocks and issues and problems going on. So I love that you're talking about that and transferring that impact into this publishing company, which I want to talk about. Let's talk a little bit about this.
Absolutely.
So tell us about this a little bit. Like you talked about how this got inspired.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with this and maybe this next book that's coming out, because I think this is kind of exciting.
Yeah. So a few things started taking place and transpiring, and kind of going back to what we were just talking about as far as empowering people and helping people feel better and better situated in their lives. A lot like how you opened your show with Be Brave, Be You. Very similar type of mindset. If you don't have those basic confidence levels, and you don't have the certain kind of a way to approach life where you have that passion, that desire to go out and serve others. In fact, one of the books I've read recently is Yes Attitude by Jeffrey Gitomer. And one of the things that he says in there is that in order for you to serve others, you have to have self-belief. You have to be the most important person in the room. In fact, he tells a story. He's like, you know, when you're sitting across the table from a customer, who's the most important person in the room? Well, most people would say the customer, but it's not them, it's you, because you have to be in a place that you can serve them. And so a lot of that Be Brave, the comments that we've made so far come from that. And so knowing that we've kind of gone through this and we're walking through this with, for instance, my sales team, I've learned that I would love to have that impact on younger kids and different ages. I mean, I've got twin daughters that are 10 years old. And a lot of the conversations that I have with my sales team and professionals and my supervisors and how I handle myself translates into the coaching I do as a dad.
Sure.
And so that's kind of how it transpired. And then my father, who you mentioned, wrote a book, and that book, A Rock in My Shoe, is very similar. We didn't even really plan that out, but it's about a kid that's challenged with, hey, I've got a rock in my shoe, I don't know what to do, and he's trying to work through some of those problems. There's some basic things in there that I think kids can learn that help them attack life a little bit more, I guess, appropriately as they get older, with more ability and with more passion toward actually serving others because they're confident in themselves and they've got that ability already tucked away.
That is so good.
Isn't that cool?
Oh my goodness, that's so good.
So the series, you mentioned the series, so that's the mindset thing. It's like the podcast, I'm on my 25th episode right now, and I'm just now learning that. It's not easy to do.
No.
The podcast thing, it's not easy.
Right.
And you make it look easy, but it's not. And
I've done let me put the caveat in there.
Yeah.
I've done like 80 episodes,
I love
okay?
it. I love it. But
I've done a lot of
true.
episodes.
You do start to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, it's like everything you do though, right? It's the confidence.
Absolutely. And it's the content. And when you're looking at content, and I don't interview people on mine because mine are 5-minute tips, really just in how to approach a day. But the content building and all that, I think I've started piecing that together where it's like, hey, a lot of things that we're talking about here in the podcast and with my team, and now with trying to build my daughters into fantastic people, all of it ties together. And so there's a series at play there. Kids' books are short. They need to be short. They need to get in, get out. That's a lot like the podcast. It's one topic, get in, get out, straight to the point. And so that's kind of what's resonating with me. And so that's what I'm working on, is a series for kiddos.
I love it. Okay, so this is so good. But you said something that really totally resonated with me. The whole, when you were talking about the customer being the most important, because that is what people are taught. That is exactly what people are taught. We have altruism so mixed up. Like it is so mixed up. We think that when the way that we serve others is by help. Yes, we have to help people, but in order for us to pour into somebody else's cup, we have to be complete, because you can't pour from an empty wagon, right?
Absolutely.
You cannot give what you do not have.
Absolutely.
So and I have been on that other side of that, so I know what that's like to be on the other side of that when you want to help people, but you really can't, because you don't have your own confidence. You don't even have it together for yourself in order to be able to help somebody else.
Absolutely.
So that gives me chills when you think about that, because or when you talked about that, because that is so true. When you're in the place where you feel good about who you are as an individual and you feel like you can help somebody else, it's no longer a competition. It's no longer scarcity mindset. You can give them what they need without feeling like they're taking from you.
Absolutely. And you just said something that is absolutely true. And I think it's become more and more cumbersome on most people in our society nowadays, and that is the competition factor.
Yes.
We always feel like, and and I told you I'm not necessarily on social media much,
Sure.
but that is one of the engines that can cause some of this with that competitive nature. You know, it's like keeping up with the Joneses
Right.
type comments. I think the competition has to be with ourselves,
Yeah.
and I want to be better tomorrow than I was today. And what is it going to take for me to do that? And there's a lot there that you have to unpack in order to be whole enough
Right.
that you can help others and serve others. Because if you're operating out of fear, you know, rather than I'm a good person, I work hard, I know what I'm doing. There's a big difference in how your approach is with other people
100%.
and what really resonates. I see a lot of people that go out there and they're great at conversations, they're great at sales approach type stuff,
Right.
but they don't feel it. They're not in it. They don't believe in themselves. A lot of the conversations we have is just, it's based upon confidence and their abilities. And it's because they're not working on them. And it's because maybe they didn't learn some of that. They're more working on the other person than they are themselves. So
Yeah, and I do think that comes back to that personal development. Like you
Absolutely.
said, it's really about, you know, you have to make a decision that if you want to, it's like the things that you say. Like I talk about this in my coaching program because I talk about these. I'm not going to get into all that obviously on here. It's a whole
Sure.
other
No,
podcast.
sure.
But I talk about these like 7, 8 things that I do daily to improve my confidence, and I don't believe they're a negotiation. I think that they're important. And when people ask me, you know, like, how did you go from here to here? I'm like, okay, well, I did these steps, I did these things, I still do them today. They're not rocket science, but nobody believes they work. They don't believe they work. So my theory is, then people keep, you know, they sort of, you can stay that way, you can just stay in there, or you can decide that I want to be better. But until you work on you, personally develop you're going to struggle. I feel like you're going to struggle in life.
and the information's out there. I mean, there's so many self-help books. There's so much good information out there. It's that, and you broke it down to 7, and I love that because it is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. The key is the commitment and the grind to doing it and working on yourself. And how many of us, it's like any exercise program or anything else we do, if we're not committed enough, if we don't feel the need enough to really build a commitment structure around it, then we're not going to get anywhere with it. So same
100%.
thing with development.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to, I sort of tell people to think of, this is how I have to equate it when I'm coaching my people, because they, again, it's a wrestle. It's kind of like telling people to do exercise. And I tell them that. I say, I want you to think of it like your vitamins. I want you to think of this like your prescriptions, your vitamins,
brushing
whatever.
your teeth.
Whatever.
It is.
I equate exercise to that.
Yeah.
We have a whole story on that one.
Yeah.
Because I told a personal trainer one time,
Sure.
he was asking if I had any fitness goals. I said, you brush your teeth every day. That's how I exercise. It's like I brush my teeth.
You and I see it. I get it.
Yeah, I
I'm
do.
the
I
same
have
way.
routine. I do.
Yeah.
I just do.
Absolutely.
But I do tell my people that to think of their personal development, whatever I give them to work on, I want you to think of that like your vitamins every day,
Yes.
Even above your exercise. Like I want you to think it above that, because when you come from the right place, your exercise is even better.
Absolutely.
You no longer go, oh, I hate to exercise. You look at it as
You look forward to it.
I can exercise. I have the
yeah.
ability to do this. It's improving who I am as an
Sure.
individual.
It's a way to
Different
get away
mindset.
from all the other things. And to second that too, I have a morning routine
Yeah.
where I actually run, but then after I run, I work on me during that time.
I love it.
You know,
Yeah.
and so that's part of it. It's just having that commitment.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and bettering yourself. I think
Yep,
if you
sure.
don't, then you just put yourself in that box, put the lid on it, and you just stop. You just
That's right.
you're stuck.
Yep.
So, David, what would you say that you love most? Maybe about what? Obviously, the consensus here really, or I guess the general theme of what you're doing here is really inspiring people. That's what I'm gathering through this, whether it be through the
Yes.
publishing in the books, the podcast, or at work through your sales team. So, what would you say to my audience that I guess maybe what you love most about what you get to do with this?
I love that I get to be with people and work with people, and they build me up too. I mean, it's a two-way street.
Sure.
There are a lot of conversations I have where I walk out of there with, just a better person, and I've learned something, and I get to go and apply that to my everyday. But I think I wake up in a great mood every day, and not
Yeah.
everyone does that, and I get that. But
Right.
at the same time, it's easy to get out of that quickly
Yeah,
if you're
sure.
not living in that mode of having good conversations. One of the things that's kind of led me to have this kind of inspirational background where I want to help others is I was always that people pleaser growing up. I was someone who,
Okay.
I don't know, I feel like it was natural for me. I don't feel like it was anything like in my family or anything. I just
Right.
wanted to please others.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but there is if you substitute
Sure.
who you are and what you're trying to become for other people.
Right.
There were times I made bad decisions because I was trying to please other people, and basically it kicked the problem down the road instead of just being upfront and honest at the right time, right? Or direct enough to have a tough conversation. So that's where a lot of that comes from. I want to have the tough conversations with the right people who are willing to go at it with good intentions and good things ahead, which I think that's where a lot of the inspiration come from. So when I started having better conversations, it led toward really building some good things. And I think that's where it all kind of like it's deep within me, you know. And children, I think that aligns with where I came from. I want to teach kids how to have better conversations and how to think about themselves differently so that they can make great decisions through life where they don't have to worry about disappointing other people.
Right. No, I think that's all really good. And the interesting thing that you said that I think is really, and this kind of resonates with me, is the good conversations, because that was one of the things, you know, I was telling Chris, I just took an energy test for something. We're working on this coaching program and we're trying to put these pieces together. And the gal that I'm working with, it has this part that she's trained in that tests your energy, where you show up and how you deal with stress. And it's so interesting because the middle ground on both of mine is peace. Like I value peace. Like I value everybody being happy. Now, realistically, I know that doesn't happen, but I'm a problem solver. So I always work to get us back to the peace, right? But it's so interesting. One of the things that I found out when I was, this has kind of been, I don't want to say an overnight process, it's kind of been a transgression for me. That when I was networking pre-COVID, because we always talk about pre-COVID and after COVID. So pre-COVID, when I spent all my time networking, one of the things that I really enjoyed about being around entrepreneurs and big thinkers was I love the conversation. Their conversation, like I'm a high energy driven person. Like my thing on that scale was way up there. I wake up in the morning, like kind of like you just said, you wake up in a good mood. I typically, for the most part, wake up ready to go in the morning. Like I'm fired up. I have ideas. Like the day is going to be good. I'm on it. But what I found is that when I was around these people, I would get excited hearing their success stories. Like I was excited for them. I don't know if they were excited, but I was excited for them. And I realized that the same is, you know, the opposite is true when I get around people that are really just going through life. Like it physically depletes me. Like I am emotionally drained with those conversations. And so that was kind of, you know, again, this transgression for me, but it was kind of a light bulb thing for me to really recognize, even in my career, what am I doing? You know, like I was in, 20 something years in a network marketing space, and there's nothing wrong with network marketing. I've had great people on here. I had somebody just aired a podcast this week, phenomenal in that space. Nothing wrong with it. But the very things that I loved doing in there were the inspiring, were the coaching, were the mentoring, were helping people see big picture. What I hated about it was the task oriented. I hated micromanaging people and having to tell people to move if they didn't want to move, and my paycheck being dependent on whether or not they move. I didn't like all that part of it. So I always joke and I say, I don't want to tell anybody to get out of bed. I will coach you and help you win if you want to win.
Absolutely.
So when you said about there a little somewhere in that about, I don't remember exactly what you said, but I read what came to mind is that you want to help those people that are going to come to you with that mindset of, I have a problem, but how are we going to solve the problem?
I want to improve. I want to give it my all. I want to be passionate about it.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Quickly in my sales manager role, if we don't have the right person in place, then we can't get there. Because tough conversations with the wrong person doesn't get you anywhere.
No.
And in fact, it gets you into that non-peace situation.
Yeah, exactly. The one where my stress thing is like in that bad place.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it because, and I say this a lot to my team. There's a quote out there that accountability feels like an attack when you're not willing to acknowledge your own behavior.
Yes.
We talk about that as a sales team quite a bit, but that stems from someone who's just wanting to put in the work for themselves. It's not even for me.
Right.
And like I said, I get as much out of it as the people I'm talking to.
Sure.
The key is that you got to be all in, ready to have a conversation, and dialed in. And with the wrong people, you're not going to micromanage that. You're not going to be able to lift someone up just so that they can get their job done. That's not the right kind of people that we're talking about. Yeah,
you said get the job done.
Yep.
Yeah, because they're coming from a different place. They're not coming from how am I making an impact or how am I serving other people, how am I helping the team. It's I'm going to get my job done, get in and get out.
Exactly.
And I think that goes both ways. And I think it can go in leadership and management. And it can go, because I think everything rises and falls on leadership. So depending on what's going on up here, I hear a lot of stories when I haven't been in the corporate space in so long, but I hear a lot of stories. And I think sometimes I'm like, oh, I just know me. My brain would be like, hey, shut check out. I'm done. We're not getting anywhere. My peace level meter is
Yes.
being affected right now. New job.
Yeah. Time to move on.
Move on. I
Yeah.
can't deal.
Sure.
So, and people, a lot of times will say that to me. They think that I'm not non-compliant. I just choose where I put my energy.
That's good.
I just choose
Healthy.
where I'm going to engage, because if I know that the solution is we're not going to come to a solution,
Sure.
that we're just going to be battling, conversation, and we're not going to get anywhere. I'm a solution finder. I can't work with that.
It's healthy.
So-
I agree. I get it.
We're moving on,
I like
right?
it. Yeah.
So this is so good, David. So good. So David, we talked about this earlier. I want to ask you this.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit about you being a police. I love that, because that's kind of like a childhood impact. I love that one. But so we were going to say like a charitable cause, because I can tell you're like an impact guy. You're like, let me have some influence and impact here.
Sure.
What would you say would be your charitable cause for the world?
I do. I want to improve children's ability to see things for what they really are, like reality. I think a lot of us formulate, whether it's our surroundings or our mindset, like the people pleaser side, where we kind of get into, and this is a bad example, but like I've got to go to college because my parents really expect me to, and I've got to get a job, and I've got to do this because society tells me to.
Sure.
And of course, you got to pay rent, you got to do these things, but there's so much of that really goes on, and during that time as well, we do things that we're not passionate about. They're not in alignment with what we're trying
values.
to. Yeah,
yes,
right.
Yes.
So alignment's a big deal, and I've been there, done that, and I think most adults have.
Mm-hmm.
If I can do a better job of impacting, and it started with my girls. Like I said, they're a huge soft spot to me.
Yeah.
I want them to feel like they are beautiful, smart, amazing, talented, kind, serving. I want them to be so good with themselves that they don't worry about the wrong things. They worry about how to take care of others and how to go and serve themselves. So there's a lot of kids out there that need that, in my opinion. And there's kids are the best place to start because they all really are pure. They're pure-hearted. They've got the right mindset already. We kind of retrain that from them a little bit. And so I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not getting too deep in that, but I recognize that there's opportunity there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the passion comes from.
Right.
You know?
This is so good. And I think it's always refreshing when I find other people kind of have the same, I guess, passion or drive, because that's really what I talk about. I feel like, and I talk about this even when I'm talking about finding your strengths. If you go back to like who you were as a child, a lot of the things when you were a child, they really come back up as your adulthood. They might lay low because you get told to go find a job, go to college, get a job, get married, have kids. You get told this pattern of things that you're supposed to do, but it's not really in alignment with who you are as an individual. It's not in alignment with your strengths, your passions, your desires. But people don't want to pursue those because that may not be the job that your parents wanted you to do, or maybe that's not a source that they think is going to make you money.
Got to make more money.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
I feel like this is such a great message, and I think you and I share that, because a lot of what I do, I feel like pouring this information out. My theory is if I can help women or men, whomever that is, be stronger as individuals, then they have the ability to change the lives of their children. They have the ability to make an impact in their children and change the generational whatever gap or whatever it is within their own household.
Absolutely. It goes back to you are the most important person in the world to you.
Yeah.
And in order for you to make other people feel that way, you have to be good with you.
Yeah.
And men, women, children, girls, boys, coming up. I mean, it's really important, and I think it's needed. And there are great resources out there already. But it's all tying together for me because I'm wrapped into so many really, really good conversations that things are just coming out. I just feel that inspiration, and just passionate about it. Right. Yeah. And the podcast does that too. I keep them really short and really direct because I believe that's how you have to do it with kids.
Yes.
And so I'm kind of building both, kind of intertwining them. And I just kind of turned around one day and I was like, this is happening. We're doing this,
I like it, David.
So,
I like it. It's all good. Good stuff. Good stuff.
You.
And it's funny that you're talking to even about like that constant being in that space where you're having that constant, because that's one of the things I notice. And so I have to continually keep reading and listening to positive material because I have not been able to do all the activities that I was doing pre-COVID. And what I've noticed is that when I'm not engaging in healthy conversation on a regular basis, guess what happens? Your brain goes down the rabbit hole, especially with everything going on right now. It is so very easy to get consumed with all that going on. So I have to be purposeful every single day in making sure that I do those habits I was talking about, that they happen, and I stay committed to working on me, and the coaching helps too, because it keeps
Sure.
me focused on, I got to pour into these
Sure.
people.
What you focus on gets bigger. I mean, it's just
That's right.
bottom line. No,
That's right. I like what you're doing, and I like that you're keeping it all short and sweet, because you're right. Kids do need, a lot of us need that.
straightforward. We do, and that's you do
Yeah,
it with
yeah.
the 7 steps. I
Yeah.
mean, it's again, you can simplify these things.
We need short and
Yeah,
sweet sometimes.
absolutely.
This has been so good. All right, David, I'm gonna switch gears on you really
Okay.
quick. I want to do my rapid fire, my shotguns.
Let's do
These
it.
are my fun ones, so
Okay.
super easy. You'll be fine.
Okay.
All right, morning or night person?
Morning.
I was gonna say you run,
Oh
so
my
I
goodness,
shouldn't even
morning.
ask that. I already knew
4
that.
a.m.
Do you-
some mornings. Yeah.
So I get up at 5 every day. Do you run every day?
I do. Well, right now I'm actually training for long miles. So
Okay.
I run 5 days a week minimum.
Yeah.
But right now I just dropped back to 4 because I'm increasing pace and
Yeah.
I'm going longer miles. So I'll
Okay.
run 7 miles this week on Saturday, 4 on Friday.
I
like
love
I
it.
do. Yeah.
So what do you have? Something? Are we trying to
You know,
get,
I'm
get
just
something
kind of
in, or
building
just
up.
kind
I
of?
think I'm going to do a half marathon in December.
Okay, good.
And just kind of press the envelope
Yeah.
a little bit. But I just enjoy running for the mental side of it. But yeah.
Right.
So.
So I'll tell you something, because I've done
Okay.
a bunch of them. If
Let's
you get
hear
to
it.
7, you're gonna be good. You'll be ready for a half marathon.
Yeah.
They
Well, I'm
always
already
tell
ready
you if
then.
you, yeah,
I'm already ready. I'm there.
exactly. They
Yeah.
tell you if you run 7, you could probably do a half.
Yeah,
You can pretty
sure.
much do it. Like
Yeah.
I this is a true story. You're gonna laugh at this, because this is how I do everything in life. Like, I make a decision.
Yeah.
I'm like I don't
get it.
even think about
No.
the consequence. I'm just like, we're gonna go
All in.
We're gonna figure it out, and
Yeah.
I'm like guns a blazing, right?
I hear you.
So
I'm that guy too.
I decided I was running. This was back because I started running when I was like in the middle of my like health crisis, and so
Sure.
I'm running, and I'm like up to like mile 3. I think it was at 3, and I'm like, I'm gonna run a half marathon. I trained in 4 weeks, like totally trained for a half
crash
marathon.
course.
Yeah, 4
Yeah.
weeks. I learned how to do it. No way.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I will tell everybody it hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
set
I'm
off.
glad you didn't get injured. That's the hard
Yeah,
part.
no,
It's like not, yeah.
It set off like a series after that,
Yeah.
because I was running like almost every single
Yeah.
weekend. Like, and then I ended up going to marathons and getting into trail racing. And I did just run a trail race
Look at you.
2 weeks ago for the first time in over
How'd
a
you
year.
do?
I did good. Actually, you know what was so great about it?
Yeah.
Is that this was the first time, talk about mindset. Remember how we talked about going going from a different angle?
Absolutely.
I actually had fun, because
Good.
I went to it with, hey, you know what? I have not run one of these in a long time. I am just going to go enjoy nature and
Yeah.
like do my thing.
Yeah.
And when I got done, I was like, I actually had fun today. That was like the
Wasn't bad.
first time I ever ran a race, and I wasn't sick
I
or
love it.
hurting. I wasn't in the mindset of, why am I doing this?
Right.
You know, my legs are going to fall. I went into it with, I'm going to go in
I'm
and
going to
just,
enjoy it.
and I did.
That's
and,
awesome.
And here's
Good
the funny
for you.
thing. Here's the funny thing.
Okay.
Normally when I do trail runs, I crash at least once. I did not crash one time.
Slip and slide.
I just run. That's
why you
hit
had fun.
roots. Yeah,
That's
I
why you
just
had
hit
fun.
roots and I fall over.
Oh,
running.
yeah. Slip and slide, rocks, roots,
Yes.
whatever.
It's like
Yep.
running on trails is so different
It's
than
so different.
so different than the
it's
road.
so different. Good for you.
But yeah, but it was just, I went with that. I just went and had fun, and I didn't do bad either, which was good, because I thought I would do. I only had gotten up to like 4 miles before I went
Sure.
in, and I'm like, I've walked. We've been hiking with the dogs and
Yeah.
stuff for weeks, and so I'm like, I got
You
this.
got this. Good
Got
for
it.
you. I like that.
It was fun.
That's good.
So
to know.
we'll have to keep following you,
Yeah,
see if you got anything coming up.
absolutely.
All right, what's your favorite food?
Oh man, you say rapid fire. I'm not a big foodie.
I think we talked about this.
We did
yeah,
talk about
I think
this
we
before.
talked about
I'm
this.
not a big foodie, honestly.
It's so funny.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big coffee person, so I guess that counts. But
You got to consume it.
I don't know. Honestly, I
Are
don't have
you-
a favorite food.
So, do you have a favorite coffee? Or are you just like all coffee? Like
just
equal
all coffee.
opportunity coffee
I mean,
lover?
if I'm gonna go get a coffee, I'll do a vanilla latte.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Kind of a dessert coffee, right?
Yeah, exactly. A little
I'm not,
sweeter.
and that's one thing I do not do. I don't
Right.
don't drink coffee. Like
Really?
I don't do coffee. Isn't that
Wow.
weird?
Wow.
I'm like weird.
Have you had energy drinks?
Not. I mean, I have had healthy energy drinks.
Yeah.
Like I drink an energy drink now,
Yeah.
but it's a healthy energy drink.
Well, just knowing your energy level. If
Yeah.
you're not drinking coffee and all that.
Yeah.
I actually have never had an energy drink.
Well,
and I
this
promised
one's
myself I won't.
pretty like clean. I mean, it's
Coffee
like
does.
yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same. This is probably
Yeah.
like having
I get you.
coffee. It's like got aloe vera and like
Right.
the
All the
coffee is
healthy
like
stuff.
green
It's
tea
like green
extra.
tea. Yeah,
Yeah, I
sure.
mean it's like no sugar. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know if half of the people would really like it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it. I like
That's
get it every month.
natural energy.
I
I
had
like
it comes in. I order like a thing of it for a month, and like if I
Wow,
run
cases
out.
of it? Wow.
Well, no, I buy like a couple of things, like a
Oh,
couple
okay.
packs, so I have one a day. But if I
Sure.
run out, I'm like panicking because I'm like, I'm not gonna have my drink today. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to drink water, and I
That's
want my drink.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
So
I like that.
Isn't that funny?
Sorry,
So-
that was a bad rapid question answer.
No,
but
it's
no
good.
Food for me.
No,
Yep.
it's good. Okay, so if you were stuck on a deserted island,
Wow,
you
okay.
have all your like you can eat, you have your main
Sure,
things.
sure.
What would be the one thing you have to have? Anything particular?
Oh, you know,
Coffee?
Honestly, this is gonna sound really dumb because it's a deserted island. But you didn't give me like, is it beach? Is it not?
Yeah.
I would need a golf club.
A
Or
golf club.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the golf club?
I walk around in my office,
Yeah.
at home, and in my office at
Yeah.
work. I have golf clubs in my office, and I swing them while I'm on the phone.
Huh.
I putt down the aisles
Yeah.
and rows and carpets and.
Is it
all
kind
that.
of like a I'm
I
thinking
just
like
love I love golf. No, it's not like
no.
it's not like that
Yeah.
the
You
beat
just
your
like golf.
chest. It's just
Okay.
I just gotta have something to do.
Yeah.
And swinging clubs is peaceful for me. I just enjoy it,
Ah.
and I love golf. So there you go.
Yeah, very cool. I
Yeah.
never thought of it that way. That's very cool.
Yep.
That's good.
Kind of a weird answer, right?
No,
But yeah.
Chris is back there and he knows we have not had anybody say golf club.
There you go.
Nobody said golf club. We get all. I've had people. Can I bring a person? One of the girls, her podcast is going
Sure.
out this week. She said she needed a person, anybody
person.
for any reason.
Yeah.
So she
to
just so
talk
she
to.
could talk.
Yeah, that's probably better than a
I
golf
was-
club. But you saw Tom Hanks use Wilson.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
whatever.
That's right. That's right. All right. Last fun question I'm going to
Okay.
ask you. If you could be any superhero or character for a day, what would you pick?
That's so easy. Superman.
Superman.
All day, every day. He's the one that's got the most powers.
Yeah.
He's got the lifestyle of he helps others and all that, but he's invincible. He
Yeah.
can fly. Flying is big. I mean,
Yeah,
if
flying.
you ask for one superhero quality, it would be flying. But
Flying.
Superman would be it. Easy.
That came to you just like
Easy.
that. Like some
Oh, yeah.
people, sometimes we have to think about this,
Yeah.
like really think that.
Some people say Batman, and I would argue that he's not really a superhero. Like, he's just got tools. He didn't have any powers. But we don't need to go into all that. Yeah, Superman.
I never thought about it, but he's got a cool car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
If you like cars, he's got and he's,
And tools.
and
He's got the
tools. He's
in the
got a
cave
cool
and all
car
that.
and
Yeah.
tools. He's kind of mysterious,
Exactly.
like
Yep.
dark, deep kind
Yeah,
of thing
exactly.
going. Whatever. This has been so good, David. So if we wanted to get our listeners to, I guess maybe check out your podcast, where do we
Yeah.
want to send them? What's the name of the show?
So it's Ways with David Goff, and it's on Apple iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon Music, and pretty much any place you're going to look for it. Those are the three
Yeah.
main ones. So
And it's so interesting that I did not even know you had a podcast till
Yeah.
today. You told me. So now I'm going to have to go check it out
Yeah.
just to hear what you're doing on there.
Check
so I'm
it out.
excited.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
definitely excited to see that.
Sure.
So David, this has been awesome. I want to tell you thank you for coming on the show, sharing all your amazing energy with my audience.
Thank
We
you
love
for
it.
having me.
Love it.
Yes,
Love it.
thank you.
And keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing. I mean, I feel like even when we think it's just a small impact, it resonates with somebody, and that's what it's all about at the end of the
Thank
day.
you so much.
Those
I really
people
appreciate
are
it.
happier. They go home, and the people around them are happier.
Absolutely.
Right?
I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. And with that, I do want to say to our listeners, of course, if you love our show, be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook, because we can't do this without you. And check out, we are on iHeart and Amazon now. So yay. And hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And with that, I am going to leave you guys with a final thought. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. All right. That's by Jimmy Johnson. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.